You tuned in to Father's Presence podcast. Thank you so much. I got my brother today, Dawud. How you? Walaikum Salaam. How you feeling?
Alhamdulillah, good.
It's great to see you.
Nice to see you too,
I know
always.
we don't get to see each other as much as we used to, just because life, everybody's busy, and but we got to make this time.
Okay.
We got to make this time to see where we at, to catch up.
Okay. Glad to catch up.
And I'm glad you made this time.
Yeah, I'm glad you invited.
Starting off, when Asia and I first got together, I brought it to your house.
Right.
And I brought it to your house for several reasons. Because she has a father, we both have families. However, in this community, in the Islamic community, sometimes we don't feel all the way there, all the way welcomed, if you will. So coming to your house was big because it was a matter of, okay, what steps are we taking as a couple and eventually growing into parents? Because that's the next, naturally, that's the next step after becoming a couple. You become parents eventually. And so I've always admired you. I've known you for some years in the community.
About 18, 19.
Yeah. So it's been a while, and you've watched me from I was in my late teens when we first met, and I've watched. My younger sister used to be in the class with your son, and so we've grown a lot since then, and I'm sure it's been interesting for you watching that growth. So I just want to highlight your journey. Your story as a father, because you moved. You weren't always from here. You moved here from the South. You were in the service. There's so many different things. You can even introduce yourself as to who you are.
Okay. My name is Dawud, and I like to just introduce myself as the old man.
Okay.
I'm the old.
Okay.
I'm the old guy.
The wise one.
The old guy. Thank you for saying that.
Okay.
Mashallah. I'm originally from Georgia, and I've been around for a while. And as you can see, I've been around for a while. And but it's been a blessing to mature. Where I am now is not where I started. So, like you said, you call it a journey. It's been a journey, and I'm happy that you reached out to me when you and AJ decided you got together. Because that shows me that you at least you respected me as a father, as a husband, and stuff like that. And any things that I can impart to you, I'm willing to do. And
when Jamil passed, we were at the funeral, and funerals are always tough. They're always, because it's a reminder.
So this was in 2007.
2007, and it's a and funerals are always a reminder of life. Life as we know it, life as what could be, what could happen. And I remember there was a couple things that happened that day. First thing is, we're used to burying people a certain way, Islamically, just like we're used to of a certain lifestyle. Now, when we went to pray, which to us it was how we always pray. But when I pulled up to that parking lot and I watched all the kids my younger sister went to high school with in the mosque, it was incredible. It was an incredible feeling. It was a meeting of two worlds, right? Even though they didn't really understand what was happening or how it was being done and different things like that. Then when we were, as we were pulling the body, about to put the body down, I broke down because
I never knew that.
Oh man, I broke, and Asia will tell you, when we finally saw the body come to be laid to rest, I couldn't take it. And I'm a person who I don't cry often. You know what I mean? And I think this is also a part of the process. What I talk about all the time is that men don't express themselves. They don't open up as much as they should. We don't open up as much as we should. And I say that because I get text messages and phone calls all the time from other men asking me advice, and advice that they wouldn't ask anyone else. And when they finally open up, after the phone call, they'll say, man, thank you for giving me that opportunity to talk. You don't realize how much opening up could do, right? And so this is why I'm even doing this, to let people know, listen, sometimes it's healing to talk, to speak up. If you have a best friend or a family member, you have to have that person that you can open up with. Now, that day, I completely broke down, and I watched, I watched Jamal, same thing. And when we looked at you, you still had it together. You know what I mean? And I'm not sure how that worked. It's different process for different people. And one, someone sent me a message after I started this podcast, and one of the topics was, would you speak to a father about how they deal with the loss of a child?
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that could be, there's different levels. There's people who lose children when they're younger, some when they're older. And so for you, he was
almost 23.
Almost 23, yeah.
22, almost 23.
And great kid, wonderful kid. And I even remember when my sister called. My sister called. She was broken, And so I'm curious as to how your process of dealing with something like that is.
So I have to tell you, that's the passing of Jamil, probably the most difficult thing in my life. Although you didn't see that externally, but that was most difficult thing I ever faced. I faced some difficult things in my many years.
Yeah.
But this probably was the most difficult thing. But as a believer, I believe that it was this is just a transition, and I believe that strongly. It was just the night. I was good. I was good because Jamil had left the house that night. About 11:30 that night, and probably 5 hours later I got a call. So later that he was deceased. He was killed. So, but before he left, he left the house. He forgot something, so he had to come back because I was already in the bed. And so I had to go see him again. And he came back, and like he did that like twice.
Yeah.
And and before leaving, he kissed me on my forehead, man. Like he would do it.
Yeah.
He had no shame about that. If, you be out in public stuff, hugging you and stuff
real
like
affectionate.
that. Yeah. And so to me that was comforting, and knowing that that we were okay and stuff like so. That's how I was able to.
And I remember we spoke one time, and you told me that story. And I remember thinking, man, that's amazing. Yeah. Because that's just his spirit. That's how he was. Real loving person to everyone he came into contact with. But just like you said, I may not have seen it. Yeah. I may not have seen it, but it's different ways. It's different times. Yeah. It's different.
And definitely, I grieve even to the day. There's probably not a day that goes by that I don't think about Jamil.
Right.
I don't think there's a single day go by that I don't think about.
Yeah.
But life goes on, and it's not just a cliche.
Yeah.
Like I was telling you earlier, life is 10% of what happened to you, and 90% of how you respond to it. And I don't know if the percentage is correct or not, but I believe in the premise. That it is how whatever come your way, whatever that is. Some people tell me, I don't see how you were able to do this thing.
Right.
I say, you don't know. You can do it, because nothing just come your way unless you can handle it.
Yeah.
You just have to recognize that.
That's right. That's right. There's no burden put on you that you can't handle.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thanks for bringing up Jamil.
Of
I always
course.
like to put that in the consciousness.
Of course. And I say that for myself and for everybody who knew him, because I see there's a few people I still come into contact with who visit when anytime we're in Denver, who visit when they get the chance. And I remember when I brought Isabel there before, because she was there, when we went to the funeral. And it's a part of life, that it's a harsh reality of life that we all have to face one day, and we pray.
But it's a certainty though.
Yeah, it is. Everybody got the expiration date.
The train's left the station already. I just, if I could say something real quick, and we're talking about being fathers. You know, if you could teach your kids any one thing, you know, I suggest that you teach them not to be afraid.
That's right.
I think fear is one of the things that really incapacitate a person. You know, so if they can get that concept. Now, I'm not saying saying to be reckless.
Right.
But I'm saying not to be afraid. You know, and once you're able to do that, you know, everything else becomes easy.
And a lot of times, once they realize, oh, I had nothing to be afraid of in this particular situation, now I'm more comfortable for next time.
Yeah.
Now I'm more comfortable with a different situation. And I completely understand what you're saying, because there's some people that can take that and just lose control and just do anything.
Don't be reckless. I'm not talking about being reckless.
Not at all. But don't be afraid to go out there and live your life. Don't be afraid of certain things that are going to stop you from.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You know, that's why we have in eraser. You know, in class. You know,
try again.
Try again. Try it again.
That's really important. And so that's one of the main things is we're here for that, to show the way. To show them, don't be afraid, because you could try again. You make a mistake, you try again. And then and it goes for our children, and it goes for our children's children, for our siblings' children, you know, as a community, because it takes a community to raise someone. You know, just like it took my parents to raise me in that village, it took Asia and Asia's parents in that village to raise her. And in the grand scheme of things, when it was time for us to come together, it took our parents, but it also took you as a part of that village and a part of that community and a part of the bigger picture. You know what I mean? And it's gonna take all those parents, because at the end of the day, there's always gonna be something that someone may not feel comfortable bringing to their parents, or just, you know what I mean? So you gotta have that other person. You know what I mean?
And what I admire about you, you know, I learned so much from you. I really do. You know, you're in Asia. You know how you're out there and trying to represent, and you stay positive. And you know, so you have touched a lot of people's lives. You know, not just in Colorado, but around the world. You know, you guys. You know, I love to see you out there.
And you know, from our conversations, I remember one time you used to teach at a school. You were the principal of a school.
No, I was school social worker.
School social worker. Okay. So, and this was a couple years ago. So I remember coming into the school a few times to you know, we were trying to plan a performance there. And one day after one of the meetings, we went to have coffee and we were just catching up. And you asked me, you said, in this music industry, or when I'm out there in the world, how do I remain pure? And I remember that. And
I remember asking you.
And my answer was, I stay close to my family. Because no matter what you do, you have to stay close to your family. If you stay close to your family, everything is gonna be clear, no matter what it is. The minute you shift and start taking a break, or you start going over here too much, spending too much time over, you start to get influenced by everything else but the foundation. So you have to stay close to the foundation, and that's one thing that I learned over the years, and that I will stick to forever. That is how I stay grounded. You know, that is what keeps me on my toes. You know, because you know, people will tell you, you got some people who live recklessly until they see their kids again. Then it's like that's that reality check. You know, or until they end up in a bad situation. But being home is what brings you down. You know what I mean? And that's a blessing. That's why I'm thankful I'm married. I'm thankful I have children, because it has really put my life on the path that you can't pay for this stuff. You can't buy this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know what I take from that is that sense of being connected, you know, to your family and something bigger than yourself. You know, and I think that's so important. You know, I got up early this morning. I think that you know, I like the quiet hours. You know, I like the rise up in the quiet hours and to be by myself. You know, because I want to make that connection. Because there's no way you can survive without being connected. You know, and you know, we're more than just this physical, and we're more than just our minor, you know, things like that. We have to. There's a third dimension in that, you know, is that. You know, some people call it spirituality of the self, the soul, you know, but that has to be connected to something. You know? Yeah. So, you know, that's, be connected.
You know, I've been on retreats, on spiritual retreats for over the course of a weekend. You have no phone, you're with leaders to guide through. That is very important to do from time to time. Or some people go camping, some people just, you know, I'm recharging, you know, I'm off the grid for a little bit. Now, that is very important, but you can't do that all the time.
Yeah, no.
And so I feel that's what that being up in the morning before everybody else is up, that's what that is.
Right.
If you, the days you do that, you accomplish so much more. Even you accomplish having a good day, being in good spirit is waking up in the morning and saying, you know what, let me just take this time. Because nowadays, man, everybody wake up, start looking at their phone, turn the TV on to see what's on the news. Before any of that happens, you have to make that time to be thankful for certain things around, to be thankful to take that first breath, and to be thankful to just be. You know what I mean? That's how I see it. That's the daily retreat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you got to be, but you got to be focused. You got to be connected, intentional. You know, because it's just to go through the motions, but not really thinking about it and stuff like that. You know, it's really, you know, there may be some minor benefits, but you know, but you have to, you know, be intentional about it. You know, I want to connect. I want to connect this. And then I'm just talking about this flesh. No, I want to connect this with the real me to something, you know, that's, you know, that brought me into being. Yeah, that's what, you know.
It's a bigger picture. It's a bigger picture, because a lot of people don't realize that. You know, you getting the hustle and bustling every day, whether it be work or school or whatever it is you got going on. You forget that it's more. You're more than just this. You're more than just beating your body up with the day-to-day